the screws loose, they done stripped the bolts on them. Shoulda never sent them to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart Boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all
right. Hello, Chudlings. It's Friday, November 10th. It's about 10:45 here on the East Coast. The Celtics just beat the Nets 121-107. Jaylen Brown had a pretty big night, 28 points. Celtics moved to 6-2 on the season, 1-0 in group play for the in-season tournament. Pretty interesting game. We're going to dive into all that, but first I'm going to do introductions. I am, as always, your host, Doug Outs, available on Twitter at Doug_Outs. Also with me is King Chuddy, at King Chuddy on Twitter. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts. We're getting a YouTube channel up and running too. Chuddy's Corner on YouTube. Make sure you're checking that out. Like, subscribe, everywhere that you can find us. Also, extra special thanks today to our sponsor, Nick Perino, nickperino.com, all your real estate needs. We got some new microphones, courtesy of our new sponsor. So that shows that, one, he's listening, and he was so disgusted in the audio that he got us some microphones. So thank you again, nickperino.com, all your real estate needs. Best sponsor in the game. He's the one that keeps Chuddy's Corner running. So yeah, dive right into the game. Like I said, 121-107 win over the Brooklyn Nets. Chuddy, I'll turn it over to you right away. What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways on this game?
Nice, solid business-like win for the Celtics. Get back on track, back in the win column. Second time we've seen this Nets team, obviously, so a little bit of familiarity. I mean, they're an odd team. They are very feisty, but they are very small as well. And I mean, especially with no Simmons out there, Claxton's still hurt. They didn't have Cam Thomas, their ultimate hooper, so a little banged up. We didn't have Al Horford in the lineup this time around. But you saw that without that, I mean, the Nets were starting with Dorian Finney-Smith, basically a wing player as their center. So they're kind of just playing five wings and guards. And it's interesting. It took the Celtics. The first quarter felt like it was kind of just a track meet, open gym. Both teams are going back and forth. A lot of shots going down. You mentioned Jaylen. He came out super hot. I think the Celtics are up 38-33 after one. Something, it seemed like, was said after that first quarter, because the defense in the second quarter was completely ratcheted up. Celtics looked like they kind of figured out that the Nets were running out there with five guys who could all kind of dribble and shoot. So they were swinging it around. They were driving. It seemed like the Celtics ramped up kind of their one-on-one defense. They were finishing possessions, turned the game around, and then Tatum got hot, made basically 4 threes in a row, and kind of broke the game open, got up to a 12-point lead at halftime, and really never looked back from there. More good defense in the third, and then another kind of spurt in the fourth quarter with some great offense, along with a lot of bench scoring. Hauser had another nice game. Pritchard finally came alive, and were able to carry them over the finish line. Cornette, great minutes off the bench, I thought, as the second big with no Horford. So, again, they didn't really have any big men on the Nets to do much of anything to us. We were able to dominate on the glass too, 29-5 in second chance points, and very clean with the ball. Only 7 turnovers for the entire game for the Celtics. So, like I said, it really felt kind of business-like. Even when it was close for a little bit, it never really felt close, and they kind of just seamlessly pulled away. I thought pretty much everyone had a good game. Some guys, quieter than others. Porzingis only 9-2 on 4 shot attempts tonight, but that's going to happen when you have all these different guys. I didn't think he played poorly or anything. That's just kind of the way the other guys had it going. And I thought the Celtics, again, they were playing really cleanly, moving the ball, a lot of assists, very few turnovers, and shots were falling. Not like an amazing shooting night tonight, but a lot better than it's been the last couple, and they certainly made enough and got going at the right time. I think 36% for the game, even though I was like 19 for 52, crazy amount of attempts. But I thought they were mostly good looks, so they were creating off good drives, good ball movement, stuff like that. So again, overall, just other than kind of sloppy defense in the first quarter, I was pretty happy with just about everything I saw.
Yeah, I definitely want to touch back a little bit on Porzingis later on, because it was a quiet night. He only played 24 minutes. What do you think? Was that just
I think
just
the back-to-back tomorrow. Keep in mind, we have another
something
game.
Like that.
Obviously,
right, yeah.
They want to keep guys fresh. And again, the Nets they don't really play a center. They were basically just playing all wings and guards. So Cornette played well. I think any time we kind of get a chance to rest pretty much any of our top 6 guys, we're going to as much as we can, and things are going well.
Do you think that Al was out on the first night of the back-to-back just because of the net size? Just a better...
I'm sure there could be a little bit more to it, but I think that probably played into it, that if they're actually looking at the two teams, they figure the Nets are small and probably be a pain in the ass team for a guy like Al to play. They figure they can run out more O'Shea Brissett, stuff like that. And I mean, again, good opportunity for Cornette. I wonder if it had to do with like a quick turnaround from the other night too, so they give him the extra long break this way instead of on the other night. Like I don't know the science behind it.
Yeah,
But
I just was sort of thinking that I mean, I'm not Toronto. I think just has a couple. They have just more bigs and stuff like that. So I thought maybe that was why.
They have Boucher, they have Precious Achua, Siakam's bigger. I mean, I'm just a much bigger team in the front court. So if it was for that reason, like that makes perfect sense to me. And I advocate for, if you're gonna rest, I advocate for doing it strategically. Like I hate when teams have a back-to-back and rest guys in the game against like the better team. So I would say, I mean, Toronto's probably like a little bit better than the Nets. It's fairly close, but again, if this decision was made for that reason, I support it.
Yeah. All right. So it was good to see Jaylen get back into things. He responded pretty early to start the game. He had the and one, followed up by 2 threes, and then just kind of never looked back from there. 28 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. 5 assists is kind of high for him, so that was nice to see him kind of distributing the ball. Like we said, he's not much of a playmaker in that sense, but it was nice to see him moving the ball around a little bit.
All in the first half, I believe.
Yeah, I do think,
for what it's worth.
like you said, that third quarter got a little bit sketchy too. We sort of let them back in a little bit. I think that's something to keep an eye out. I think the third quarter has been historically a quarter that we've struggled with, and I think they're saying in the broadcast, and I sort of agree with it. I feel like that's kind of a quarter that teams that are able to win consistently, those are the quarters that you kind of dominate. So I'd like to see us sort of be a little bit better. I don't really have the numbers in front of me on what the third quarters look like. I think we had a pretty big third quarter last game, but overall, just something a little bit concerning to keep an eye out on. I agree with what you said too about the defense in the first quarter. They had Brad Stevens on the broadcast, and you could tell that he was kind of pissed off about. Yeah, he was sort of. They're talking about the shooting. He's like, "Well, guys just got to defend," and you can kind of tell that he had noticed that too. Obviously, the players don't hear that, but it was nice to see them respond. I'm guessing that Joe probably had a pretty good talk with him on that. It was awesome to see Pritchard finally find himself. I was telling you the other day, I was trying to get a little meter going for what language he was going to need to learn. So I think today he's okay only speaking English. He doesn't need to get ready to learn Turkish, Chinese, or any other European language. Pritchard's off the hot seat for now. Hauser's stroke is definitely has found itself, which is nice. So Hauser had 15 points, Pritchard had 13 points. I think that's exactly what you're kind of looking for from those guys. You know, they don't have to be putting up huge numbers, but if they make shots when they get them, that's going to be great. So Hauser was 5 for 10, Pritchard was 5 for 10. I think he was like 2 for like 7 from 3, but I can live with that, especially again, he was just doing the motor plays that he does too. Some good rebounds. I think he rebounded one of his own missed threes and then made the next 3 afterwards after that, which was that's always awesome to see that kind of thing happen. So yeah, Drew Holiday, he kind of tore up the Nets team the first game he played, almost had a triple-double tonight, 13 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Overall, I think Tatum started a little slow. I'm not going to make any assumptions on what he did this morning or anything like that. I'm not going to repeat that mistake, but I don't know if that's just a matter of Jaylen had it going first, but he did just seem to be a little bit passive to start the game. I don't know if you had the same thoughts on that.
It's interesting. I don't know if passive is the right way to put it. I mean, I think he had Mikal Bridges on him. They do actually have some pretty good defenders for Tatum, and I think he's kind of feeling his way into the games, and I think making a concerted effort to get some of the other guys going. I mean, teams are like clearly sending a lot of defense at Tatum, and I think he's kind of happy knowing the reason we got these guys is we have advantages elsewhere, especially if they're overloaded on me. So I think he's just taking what the defense is giving him. I mean, again, he kind of took over in that stretch in the second quarter. I don't think he had scored till that stretch. He had 4 straight threes and mixed in a free throw.
Yeah, he didn't score till like 6:33 left in the second. So
yeah, he rolled in that 3 and then he just kind of went off from there. So I mean, I have no problem with it. And again, I mean, we scored 38 points in the first quarter, so it wasn't like the offense was struggling. I think again, everyone was just moving the ball and making the right pass. The Nets were playing some weird, funky defenses too. They were almost like giving us corner threes, so we kept making the extra pass, getting good looks in the corner, and we were just missing a bunch early. Even for as many points as we scored, I thought we left a lot on the table, but I liked the process, and most of it came around eventually. That Jaylen sequence you mentioned at the beginning was awesome. I also love that right in the middle of that sequence, after I think in between the threes, They gave it to him on the wing, and he kind of like jab stepped it. It looked like he was gonna heat check another three, and instead he made a great entry pass to Porzingis, who we noticed had Dinwiddie on him, and Porzingis had an easy little turnaround off the backboard. So I think the little plays like that are huge too. Just kind of, not and he easily could have chucked up the three there, and I don't think anyone would have looked at it or thought badly about it. So it's nice to see him make the smart heads up play in that situation. And also with Pritchard, not only, like you said, he hit his first three, then he missed the three, got his own rebound, put it right back up. So if anyone was wondering where his confidence was at, I think it's pretty good. And then also later, he got a rebound on his own free throw, which you almost never see. It was like Brooklyn kind of just fell asleep. I don't know if they thought there was another shot or they just forgot to box out the shooter, but he snuck in on his own free throw, rebounded that, and laid it in. And like you said, tonight the shots were falling, but they were doing a lot of stuff. Pritchard always scrapping on that offensive glass. He had some rebounds. Hauser, I think, playing really good defense. And then Brissett, always a hustle play every 2 seconds when he's in the game. I think Brad even mentioned that during a hustle play in his interview too. And the final guy, like we said, Cornette, I thought really good minutes. He had that awesome alley-oop from Derek White, but he had a few other good plays.
I have a question about Brissett. Should I just not expect that guy to be making like jump shots? Because he just has maybe one of the ugliest shots I've seen. He's just not out there to score on like jumpers. I think he had one. No. Three as the shot clock was going off, and it just was a total air ball. He had another one that clanked off the back rim. I mean, I'm a big Brissett fan. I like when he's out there. I think he's a dog. I think that he does do other good things out there. But, I just want to make sure that my expectations for that guy are
not a shooter. Think more like a Tony Allen. And that, just not a clean looking shot. He can make it if teams leave him like wide open from the corners. You'll see him if they basically dare him to shoot it, he will. And he can make it. He's not like awful percentage-wise, but it's not a pretty shot. And he's really not looking for his shot out there. He's kind of looking to do everything else, which, like you said, he is very good at. But not a shooter. Yeah.
So, I think a couple other things. So we touched a little bit on the bench. I think the fact that the bench had 11 points in the first quarter, I think that kind of was a good tone setter for the rest of the game. People were feeling, I think everyone just felt more comfortable. And you mentioned Pritchard's confidence. We mentioned on the last podcast after the Sixers game that maybe it is just a matter of like, he just needs to see the ball go in. And I think that definitely was part of it. What's up with Porzingis loving to throw the ball back up through the hoop? Like that's what he got his tech for tonight. I feel like, didn't he do that in like the second or third game of the season? He got a technical then.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just such a weird move. And then he was shocked. And I mean, some of the other techs I've had a problem with, but that was just like the exact same thing.
It seems like they've had like a weird point of emphasis on certain techs. Like I've seen more techs for stuff like that and hang on the rim this year than ever. So part of it, I wonder if, it's just like first couple weeks of the season, they want to enforce like certain things. I don't know why, but I mean, it's like after every game, we're like, all right, what if Porzingis do to get a technical tonight?
He's got 6 technicals. Jesus Christ. So that's
an outrageous pace.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's 16, right? And then you're suspended for a game.
Yeah, and it just feels like none of them are off of like the typical stuff you get technicals for. Like he's not really even like arguing with the refs.
Being an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's with that technical rule? So it's 16 you get suspended for a game, and then how many do you have to get like another 16 to get suspended again?
No. It's a way smaller. I'm not sure. It might be 2 more. I think is another one. Then at a certain point, it's like every other one you get is another game. Christ. Maybe it's another 5. Like 5. I don't know.
He's got to fucking tighten up then.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if all of the different ones like count the same for that rule, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If the
when would we find out about that hang on the rim one if that got rescinded? I didn't
see anything that we would have already known, and I didn't see anything. So
that is crazy if that one sticks with him.
That one I'm with him on. That's just not correct enforcement or interpretation of the rules, giving him a tech on that. But the other ones, I mean, you can complain about them, but like they're calling it. So like you said, he's gonna have to adjust in some manner.
Just stop throwing the ball. You just can't do that. You just can't throw it.
Clearly,
that's like that's
clearly not allowed.
Yeah,
and it's not like cool enough to do just even risk it. Like it doesn't matter.
When he did it again, I literally was like, "What?" And they call. I was like, "What is he doing? Why did he do that?" I don't know. He seemed a little bit like off. I know the points. He didn't have a lot of points or whatever, but he seemed just like a little bit off today. I feel like there's a couple times too where I saw him sort of like moving slow up and down the court, like barely even making it into like past the 3-point line on both ends, just kind of like almost like jogging up and down a little bit. I don't know I might have just been locked in on him at just kind of a tough stretch for him or something. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's
again, I
anything
think
there.
the pace of the game, and again, a team playing that kind of style is not not really just like his ideal environment to play in. So, and I mean, again, I think guys still kind of just trying to find their rhythm, who go in and out. Again, it was a big like Jaylen night. You mentioned Drew was doing a lot. The Jays were both on, so it's going to be, I think, probably hard to. Like I think every game we're gonna be able to be like, well, this guy had a quiet night, or this, I don't
Yeah.
think every guy's gonna score 25 every night, but yeah, I mean, like we said, he only had 2 rebounds. To me, is almost weirder playing against a team with no center. Like I said, a guy that tall, I keep saying it, should just like he should fall into like 12 rebounds a night by accident. And he just doesn't at all.
He
So
doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, I thought
Well,
tonight he would have a better game where, again, there's really no other bigs. And it wasn't a problem. We crushed them with our overall size, even without Horford. But it's just still kind of weird. And I mean, that was with, I think, Tatum had 10 rebounds, Drew had 12. So it's like all these other guys are rebounding, which is good and important. But it's something that's going to have to continue and will really be a point of emphasis against bigger teams, as we saw playing, Embiid in Philly, and then Gobert, Cat, and Naz Reid, obviously the Timberwolves. Like, those 2 games, just the style of those games, how they were played on the court compared to tonight, was like 2 different sports.
Yeah. I also think it might just be, like you said, just the way the Nets play. It's like a very frenetic offense. That's just kind of the word I kept thinking to myself. Like it almost seems like there isn't a strategy. The way they're just kind of like running and just shooting and doing everything like that. But obviously that is their strategy. It's how they played in the first game against us, how they played in this game.
And it gives people some problems. I think it creates enough chaos that it can, it hasn't caught us. I mean, they kept it pretty tight the first game, not so much tonight, but I've seen them play well against teams that they're probably like a little overmatched against, but the style is kind of so funky that it takes teams out of what they want to do.
Yeah, and if those shots start to fall and they kind of, if they get a hot shooting night and they kind of bury someone quick, but they're a fun team to watch. They're a feisty team. I think they're kind of in that same boat as the Sixers. Drew Carter was saying in the last one, it's like when you get out of that like tough relationship and you just kind of out there just having fun. I feel like that's kind of like where the Nets are after that disaster they had with Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. So
yeah,
it's hard to dislike them as much as I feel like I had the last few years, obviously. But it looks like they got a pretty decent thing going there for them.
Yeah, nothing against the Nets. I think the thing is just more like, do they are any of their guys actual guys? Like, that would be the one thing.
Yeah, I don't know
as a
if
Nets fan,
talent-wise, yeah.
No, what I mean, it's like there are much worse teams right now than the Nets in the league, but you're like, at least we know these are our core like building block guys. I'm just not like I really like Bridges, but I mean, he's already like 27 and he's a good maybe like second option. I think he'd be a good third option, a questionable second option, and right now he's basically their number 1 guy. So like, and I just don't know that
Like,
they have young
when
the Nets actually get good again. I'm not sure if any of the guys currently on the team will be on the team.
Yeah, that's fair. I saw there's more of the pressing today. I love that. I hope that seems like it's going to be something they're going to be doing almost every game because we've seen it in almost every game.
And it should be.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note of that. I just wrote it down a couple of times that they were pressing. I just love that overall style. Do you think that's something though, like that can be over an 82-game season? Is that going to be something that's going to kind of wear on guys, or do you think we have the players that can manage that?
I think finding the right balance is key, and I mean, you're not going to wear yourself out pressing a lot, but the way they've been mixing it in, it's usually, a couple possessions here, a couple possessions there. I can't imagine that's like so much extra
West Virginia.
Yeah, and they're doing it a lot. It's a lot like when Pritchard's on the floor, and extra guards in there. Like it's not really so taxing on the Jays or like Al and Porzingis. Like I know Holiday's a little older, but I feel like White and Holiday and Pritchard just have like endless motor. So asking them to press for even like 5 to 10 possessions a game, I can't imagine is going to wear them out. I just think in the NBA, it's like, it seems like if any team tries to press for too long, the other team will be like, all right, like let's actually assess what's happening, run a quick press break, and start to like eat it apart, pick it apart a little bit. So I think it's just knowing when to mix it in and using it strategically. It seems like they've done it. So they'll whip it out at like the end of a quarter or the start of a quarter or something, just try to catch the other team off guard for like 2 or 3 quick possessions. And those stretches can help spark a run, can end a run, or can, just end up adding up over time.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if you have anything. I have a couple, not so much like X's and O's related things. I don't know if you have anything else that you saw. I do want to mention points off turnovers. You mentioned we didn't have many turnovers, but 18-2 was the points off turnovers. I think you mentioned too the second chance points, 29-5. Those are, again, I think those are just kind of like those motor big kind of plays.
You dominate those two categories, you're going to win almost every time. Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything else from just like an X's and O's or observation standpoints. I just wanted to, if you don't, I'll get into some stuff just about the tournament and things like that.
Yeah, no, nothing else to say about the game, just good performance, and that's exactly what we wanted. Like going in, I said I wanted to get a win, and I wanted to keep the minutes low so that we were ready to go tomorrow on the back-to-back, and I'd say we basically accomplished exactly that.
Yeah, I was looking at the minutes were definitely exactly what you want to see. So it was the in-season tournament. I'll say that I haven't been a fan of the city jerseys. I've made that clear. Although looking at them on the guys tonight, I actually didn't hate them as much as I thought I would. They looked a little bit cleaner than I don't know. I think sometimes when you just see the picture of them online, it's easy to sort of jump on them. But I did think that they looked pretty good. The court was all right. I did think the warm-up jackets. I don't know if you saw any of the guys before the games, like the warm-up jackets. Yeah. I might have to get one of those. Those things look sick. The city warm-up jackets. Those were clean.
Those were very cool. I think these city jerseys are better than a lot of the ones we've had, which might be like not a great bar. The bar's not super high, but
we don't look like the Milwaukee Bucks in these ones like last year.
No, they're kind of cool.
They look like a Celtics jersey.
The court is just a lot. It took me like half of the first quarter. I kept being confused, like when they would start chanting or like playing music after we did something. It just like felt like it wasn't a home game. It's like that just isn't like the Garden. I was like, why are they cheering for us? I was like, oh shit, like we are the home team. That took me a little bit.
I saw a report that like the Celtics did request, and again, when I say report, I just mean that someone tweeted it. That the Celtics did request the parquet in the middle, and that the league turned it down. I don't know. Again, might be total bullshit, but if that is the case, that's crazy considering what like the Bulls floor looks like. I don't really. Like some of those floors just look so crazy. I don't know why the parquet would have been an issue, but
that would be cool. And who knows? It was funny again during that Brad interview. They asked him, they're like, "How much say do you have on things like the court for this tournament?" He's just like, "Absolutely zero, like none whatsoever in any way, like at all." So I don't know if it's all like who knows who's making these decisions, but yeah, I mean, just watching. I've got the Lakers game on right now, and the whole it's actually in Phoenix. The whole court is purple. And the middle part is like neon blue. It's just absolutely insane. The Rockets against the Pelicans, that I think you mentioned it the other night. The court is bright red. Like the whole thing is just so hard to even focus on the ball. So by comparison, I mean, again, I thought more than anything it was just like jarring and weird, but I was fine with it, you know?
Yeah. Well, 1-0, get the first win of the in-season tournament. Undefeated in in-season tournament play for the Boston Celtics. Dominant. That's exciting. I think we play again. It's next Friday, right? Our next game? Next in-season game?
That sounds right. I know it's going to be all Fridays are for like in-season tournament, and I think Tuesdays will be eventually too. So those will just be specific nights where it's all tournament games, I guess, is the way we're looking. Right, I'm looking right now. It's next Friday, November 17th, in-season tournament game, Celtics at Raptors.
At Raptors, okay. So the Raptors are in. So
who we play tomorrow?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's kind of a perfect segue. So the Celtics will win tonight. We got the Raptors coming into town tomorrow. Non-in-season game. This is just a regular season game. I think unless you have anything else to add, I can't not mention Kornet's dunk, that alley-oop.
It's beautiful.
Him in those uniforms, he looked like literally someone's dad was out there or something like that. Like he looked like a fan. It was so, I don't know if his shorts were shorter than usual or something, but when he first came out, I gasped. He looked like chunkier too. Like, I don't know. It sounds like he's noticed it too, but he looked like
flattering.
I was thinking he was going to have like the New Balance or like the Monarchs or whatever, like those shoes on. It was just incredible. He looked absolutely hysterical. He's the one person that looked, I think, hysterical in those uniforms. But he had a great game too. For his time in, I think he played like 17 minutes. He had 7 points, 9 rebounds, and obviously that alley-oop was just awesome. So it's good to see that. Obviously, with Al out, he needed to step up a little bit. So it was good to see Kornet show up. Just the whole bench again. It kind of snaps, and I think Brad kind of said it well in the interview that he was saying. He's like, all that stuff, water does eventually find its level. I think that's the term you used in one of the podcasts. So it's good, but it was just good to see in a game we needed the bench to step up, that they did. So, but But that Cornet dunk, yeah, that's going to be a highlight reel for sure.
Absolutely. He had a great Cornet contest as well on a corner three, and it worked very effectively. I forget who was shooting it, but they looked taken aback. But yeah, no, the bench was definitely a huge plus, something we needed. And I thought Brad was very leveled and emotionless in his interview, but was parroting a lot of stuff. Yeah, I thought he said a lot of the stuff I've kind of been saying on here, which is, again, like, I'm not going to panic about good shooters missing shots as long as they're, kind of doing all the other stuff well and playing the right way. And he even said, like, yeah, it's not good to have bench scoring, but again, we're always going to have at least like two of the starters in who are going to be guys who can score. So it's more just them being able to play and not hurting us. Some nights they're like tonight, where two guys are in double figures and Cornet has 9, like getting a ton of bench production statistically. Other nights where just not this kind of game, we might get 8 points off the bench, but it's fine because all of the starters are scoring. So it's going to look a little different, and it's hard to just look at a number and be like, 15 points for Hauser, good game. Like, obviously, when he's making the shots, it helps, but again, they've come far enough in other ways that, like, the fact that Cornet, Pritchard, and Hauser are out there and none of them were really at all, like, letting us down on defense. Yeah. I mean, that's huge.
They've all been pretty good. Huge. Yeah, they've all been good on defense, even on the bad shooting nights. I think the bench defense has been pretty good. But yeah, so that the Celtics again. Celtics win 121-107. Move to 6-2 in the season. 1-0 in group play. Raptors coming in tomorrow. Back to back, so that'll be an interesting test for us. We can move on now, unless you have anything else to add to around the league. What do you got for us? What's going on in the association that the Chudlings need to know about?
Oh, a lot. Busy. Crunchy night in the association tonight. First, let's go back to a couple things to just clean up from last game against Philly that happened after we went off air. First of all, did you see the Missoula Gary Washburn presser?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if you didn't see it, basically, Gary's been on this for years, harping on the amount of threes. He's like always thinks the Celtics are shooting too many threes no matter what. And he asked Joe if something like that, and Joe kind of cut him off and ripped into him. It was like, basically, like, Gary, like, what's your problem with threes? Like, you wrote an article like 12 years ago saying we shot too many threes, and like, you've always been on this. Like, what's your deal? Just kind of grilled him, and Washburn was like,
and everyone was just like, the media guys are all just like clutching their pearls over that. It just makes no sense. They're all like, I've never seen a coach go back and read it. It's like, dude, you fucking wrote an article. And the guy, like, what do you mean? You wrote an article and posted it to the internet. Right. Like, it's not like he went to like a library, like Rolodex or something, and like tracked down like one article you wrote. I mean, he looks psychotic. Joe Mazzulla does
exactly.
I think I even grabbed a screenshot on my phone of like his eyes. You got like the
crazy
eyes going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with it. Leaning into his own psychoticness is there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I like Psycho Joe being a psycho.
Yeah, it just was bizarre to me, the media reaction, that people just kind of just like aghast that a coach was just like, what the fuck?
I mean, not exactly shocking. Then the other thing from that game, of course, the last 2-minute report came out yesterday and said that Embiid was indeed out of bounds with 3.5 seconds left, whatever, on the baseline. Wasn't called, obviously, and the game ended. So Celtics should have had a chance to inbounds underneath the basket with almost 4 seconds left, chance to tie the game.
And shout out to Scal during the game saying he definitely wasn't out. Yeah. Like Scal commented, he's like, no, I definitely don't think he was out. Tommy would never.
He was all over it. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, that's, I mean, doesn't do us any good now, but almost like just rub salt in the wounds, really, but worth mentioning. Further beyond that, want to shout out, we talked about Jamal Murray getting injured the other night. Was just watching Jokic absolutely carry the Nuggets to a victory without him, and just always a good time to remind the Chudlings out there that, stay up once in a while, watch the Nuggets, like, appreciate how damn good Jokic is, how much we take him for granted. He just casually puts up like 35, 12, and 12s every night, leading his team to wins, and we're just like, yep, just another night at the office.
Have you seen that video? Have you seen that video of him where it's like, it's showing like all these other like NBA stars like doing like workouts, and then it's just like cuts to him just like riding around his like horse and shit like that? That guy's the man.
He is the man, and I also think that whole narrative, and he like leans into the whole that he like doesn't care thing, is just funny, but also like he's definitely like one of the hardest working guys in the league and absolutely lives in the weight rooms. Yeah, but just posts funny shit, and it is hilarious kind of narrative. Had more kind of sad injury news now. Cam Thomas, we talked about the feel good story. Now he's out for like a month. It's just sad to see. Obviously, Rob Williams officially had his surgery, out for the entire season. Again, we've
bummer.
already talked about that. It is very sad to see. Thunder, haven't mentioned them. Really fun team to watch this year, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're already pretty good, and Chet Holmgren looks really good. The rookie who was out all of last year, he looks like an immediate problem on both ends. So that was kind of the biggest question mark for them, is do they have like enough true size? But if he can keep playing like this, they can maybe trade for just like a decent big, and I think they're another team, maybe not quite as far along as the Timberwolves that we talked about the other day, but another just kind of like up-and-coming team in that West that's really good. SGA, I mean, he made first-team All-NBA last year, and they've got just so many good, fun, young players. So another team I've been really enjoying watching. Something else, we've obviously been harping on the refs and the technical situation. I don't know if you saw what the refs threw Giannis out for the other night in the Bucks game. He dunked and basically just like flexed. Nothing egregious, nothing really
the guy
like
was
taunting.
Just happened to be standing right there. I don't think he was doing it in the guy's face.
Definitely nothing remotely over the top, like stuff you see in every game every night. And the ref hit him with a quick second tech. It was like not even the middle of the third quarter. And so, I mean, again, it's just seeing just a lot of tweets making good points, but it's so funny. Like the NBA makes all these, claims of how load management is ruining the sports and crying for fans who go to pay all this money to see players and don't get to see them. And then you're kicking out, one of the biggest stars in the league halfway through the game for no reason, for just showing a tiny bit of emotion after making a nice play. It's just like, why do we have to do stuff like this?
The NBA has an official problem. They're terrible. They've been terrible this year. And again, like
they gotta lay off the technicals. That's for sure. Like, I don't know. Again, I hope it's just they're like trying to make a statement in the first like 10 games of the year. They're like, all right, hammer the tech so the players like wise up or something, and then we'll stop. Like, I know the NFL always does stuff like that, like points of emphasis in week 1, but so far it's pretty damn frustrating, and that's coming from, I'm certainly not a Bucks fan, but it's you just don't want to see that. It's stupid.
No.
I thought it was also funny. Paul George had a nice press conference the other night, made a comment about how he's not at all worried about the Clippers because they have too much talent to fail, I think is what he said. He said we're all stars.
So many
there's no way we
comments that are just loaded in the chamber. Like he was Waldo for Halloween. Mm-hmm. That's just going to be, that's going to get recycled a lot.
The game just ended. I didn't see the final. They got smoked
tonight, right?
They were down by over 30 to the Mavs when I had it on. I'll tell you the final score in 2 seconds. They cut it to 126-144 loss. So so yeah, they are now 0-3, I think, with Harden. So that's gonna be a fun situation.
I can't believe that's not working out for them.
It is. I know. It's like the Arrested Development meme where it's like Tobias is sitting with his wife saying like they should try seeing other people. How does that work for anyone else? He's like, no, but it might work for us. It's like exactly the Harden situation at this point.
That's a good meme. Good verbal meme.
Really excited to see what team he requests to trade to next. It's gonna be really fun.
I think he's approaching the territory. If this is a disaster for the Clippers, that like I don't know if there is like another team. Like, it sounds crazy to say, but I mean, at some point, like he's like 32, 33 now. Like he's like an old dude with a shitty contract. He's like out just like partying. Well,
he has no contract right now, but after this year, but yeah.
Well, yeah. So that might be even more fucked then. But I don't know. Like I think there was some podcast, some player podcast. I forget. It might have been the Garnett and Pierce, or might have also been the I forget the fucking player. Doesn't matter. But where they were basically saying the league is going to be fine no matter what. Like players like that eventually get moved on from, and people just don't want to deal with it. And this is that's something to keep an eye on. I mean,
like when he's pulling this crap and he's a legit top 15 guy in the league, teams will put up with it. When suddenly you're not worth it, like you said, the league doesn't need him. He's going to need the league a lot more. So
like would you say Harden is a top 25 player in the league right now?
Right now,
no, right? Top 40?
I think he could still be helpful. Yeah, like he's probably at a certain point. I mean, it's hard to judge. It's again kind of this thing we talk about with like the rule of diminishing returns, where it's like if what a team needs is like an offensive creator to do everything, he's still one of the best at that, but he's not like good enough at that to carry a team the way he was. So if your offense is like turn it over to Harden, you probably don't have a very good team. But if he was able to like adapt his game into a like complementary role, which again he kind of did for part of last year with Embiid, but I'm not sure like how much he's willing to sacrifice and at what point it's not worth it. And you're like, if this is going to be his role, let's just go get a role player who actually like embraces doing these things and not a guy who needs the ball to be successful. But for him having the ball means our guys who are better than him aren't having the ball. Like that's just, I don't know, it's just like a zero-sum game. So it'll be tough. And you see it happen to those guys who can't, like, some stars can kind of gracefully change and become like role players. I mean, look what like Ray Allen did when he came to the Celtics. But again, like Ray Allen, people forget, early career Ray, when he was on like the Bucks, was like a dominant offensive piece who had the ball all the time and did everything. And by the time he got to the Celtics, he barely dribbled. So I just don't see James Harden making a transformation like that. I mean, he still doesn't even catch and shoot threes, which is like insane to me. Like a wide open catch and shoot three, he'll just start dribbling. It's like, no, we need you to shoot that shot and like make it. That's one of the few ways you can help us, and he just like won't do it. So,
oh god, he's a disaster.
I think he needs to come to terms with what's happening before like it can work, and
I don't think he's capable.
Is not there. He's definitely not there yet. I think he'll need another year or two of humbling experiences, and then we'll see. But
get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Yeah, and for him, that might be perfect because he might rather just go to China and score like 80 points a game while giving 50% effort, and it could be like great for everyone involved. So that might actually be a reasonable option for him at some point. He seems to like it over there.
Yeah. Do you have any other? I have one thing. Go ahead.
The only other thing, I have only two other little things, I guess. One, I mean, it sounds lessened now that Payton Pritchard had a pretty solid game, but I saw John Wall out there saying he's ready and willing. You want John Wall?
I mean, I think people keep bringing up like guards. I think we need to get another big. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like, it's not anything necessarily against John Wall. I mean, maybe I think he'd definitely be helpful. But yeah, well, I know because his whole thing is like he just had a quick first step this whole career, and now he doesn't really have that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I don't want him myself. I just thought it was a big name that was
floating out there. A couple
of
the names that I've heard people float out. I just think it's like if we're gonna use a roster spot, I think it's got to be on a guy that can be a big. So
no, I'm good with someone who hasn't had a impact in like 4 years.
Yeah.
Speaking of trades, I thought it was funny. There was already a report, I think, from like Windhorst or Ramona Shelburne, who said the Lakers are looking for a third star, which is just hilarious. Like, they're so excited about this team, and now they already like want to trade. I don't know, getting rid of all these guys that they're so excited about.
Lil Wayne said that if they're serious about winning a title, they got to get rid of AD.
Yeah, I did see him say that. Yeah, no comment. Just nothing really to add to that. And then tonight was opening night for the G League, so huge deal. Maine Celtics getting back in action. They got a nice Lewiston patch on the jersey this year, doing some kind of fundraising through that, which is nice to see. I
think I saw a highlight of something that Jordan Walsh did today.
Yeah, it'll be good to get those guys some reps. Walsh, Davison. We'll see who else is up there. Tony Snell is still on that team, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Completely forgot
I saw
about
him.
that.
Yeah, it was his birthday. I think I saw a happy birthday Tony Snell post.
Yeah,
today.
You forget that there are like a few veterans still like hanging on in the G League. But
that's wild.
But it is exciting to see some of like the G League Ignite. I think has 3. We talked a little bit about, but they have 3 of like the top guys. Ron Holland, I think, is supposed to be the number 1 pick. He's on the Ignite, so. There's like some real stars on that G League Ignite team. It could be kind of interesting to watch. I didn't catch any G League action tonight, but I'll be sure to wake up bright and early and start catching up on the G.
Perfect. We'll have to start doing a G League segment.
Definitely.
I don't really have anything necessarily around the league. I just don't know if you saw Mike Wilbon. They were talking about like someone, I forget, I don't know who like the host was, but she was saying like, oh, like are people kind of sleeping on the Pistons? And he's like, yeah, I think people really are. I mean, they got a lot of guys. They got Cade, and then he just like froze and like couldn't name like another single player, and like he was just kind of getting clowned on Twitter. I mean, I don't know if I could. I know they had that. Who's that rookie? They drafted a rookie that's like
Osar Thompson, the other Thompson.
Yeah.
Twins. He is very good.
But yeah, I just thought that was just kind of funny. I mean,
they have good players. They've made some dumb plays and have some bad moves.
Oh, no, I'm sure they do. I just think it's more an indictment on Wilbon. Just like,
no,
that's just a guy.
Darren's playing really well for them.
Between that and Washburn.
They have Wiseman and Bagley, which is just funny.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot of guys. You got to look at it. It's a funny clip. He just like freezes. It's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Love that. Love those guys really exposing themselves. That is, of course, why you should not be listening to those big, dumb mainstream talking heads, you should be getting all your basketball news and intel from Chuddy's Corner. Is the
Yes.
message there?
Yes. The new media.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. The future worldwide leader.
Mhm.
Yeah. So all the more reason to listen to Chuddy's Corner. Mike Wilbon's an idiot. Gary Washburn's an idiot.
I can name every player on the Pistons.
There you go. Maybe one day when it's a blowout game or something like that, we can do like a Jeopardy. I'll set up like a Jeopardy board or something, and we can just like Oklahoma City Thunder 8th men for 500.
Love it.
That could be
Kason
interesting.
Wallace is giving them great minutes. Rookie Isaiah Joe, one of the sharpest shooters in the league. Also,
Yeah, you hear that, Wilbon? We're
They got a lot
coming
of
for
guys.
you.
they got a lot of
Chuddy's
guys.
Corner is coming. Just as
gonna
an
outwork 'em.
aside, we can wrap up, but just an aside, shout out to whoever the 10% of our listeners are in Germany. I was looking at the Spotify analytics. 10% of our listeners are in
Willkommen.
Germany.
Willkommen. Welcome.
Yeah, willkommen, yes. Chuddy's Corner is sehr gut. So shout out to you, whoever you are, and if you're just a robot that's just doing the numbers, shout out to you also, just in case
we'll
the
take
robot overlords take over. Anyway, yeah. You got anything else to add? We got the Raptors coming to town tomorrow. Should be hopefully, coming off a back-to-back, our first back-to-back of the season for Chuddy's Corner as well. So that'll be another interesting one too.
Should be a
no
fun
rest
game.
days for us, no load management.
The Raptors are looking pretty good so far. Very new look team with their new coach. Obviously moved on from Nick Nurse, and they have Darko, somebody whose name I'm not going to butcher, starts with an R. Scotty Barnes, so far the player to watch, looks like he's taken a leap to potential budding stardom. So good to watch, and if he accelerates, maybe they finally will trade in an Obi Siakam, or maybe they'll be good enough to go the other way and try to win now. So excited to watch that game for sure.
All right. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to being back here tomorrow night with you, Chuddy. Again, to close out, Celtics 121-107 win. They moved to 6-0 on the season. We will see you guys. It's about 11:30 on the East Coast. We'll see you all around the same time tomorrow to recap the Celtics Toronto Raptors. Chuddy, you have a good night. Take care of yourself. And to all our fans out there, thank you. And Auf Wiedersehen.
Peace out, Chuddy heads.